Hello, bonjour, welcome on this 7th episode of Accessible. I am happy today to greet you from the state of Ohio in the magnificent city of Cincinnati, where I am at the moment, and I wanted to welcome Natalia Bertrán for this episode called Globetrotter. With Natalia, we are going to do several parts in this episode because she has so much to share of adventure, as much on a human level as on a traveling level, on tips on how to travel alone as a woman. She has been from Papua New Guinea to Mongolia to Antarctica, but also her recent travel is Pitcairn Island in the Pacific, where she has filmed for us Accessible, where she talks to us, but also with the local that are of the people of Pitcairn Island. It's going to be an amazing, exciting episode that we are proposing you this time. I hope that you will enjoy as much as I enjoy every single bit of her travel, and the travel continues with her. So let's go now with Globetrotter and with Natalia. Thank you.
So hello, Heather.
Hi, Natalia. Thank you for having me. And hello, Joyce and your viewers. Lovely to see you.
So, Heather, why don't we start? Just if you want to tell us a little bit about your story, about why are you living here, a little bit about your background.
Sure. I'm happy to do that. So, my name is Heather Menzies. For those of you who may be familiar with Pitcairn Island, it is the refuge that the Bounty mutineers found after they stole the ship, the Bounty, in the South Pacific, and they found the island and made a home on the island. And the mutineers sailed to Pitcairn Island with a group of Pacific Island companions as well, and some men and some women. And I am a descendant from one of the mutineers, Fletcher Christian, and his Tahitian consort, Maimiti or Motua, we call her. My partner is Kerry, and he's also descended from Pitcairn Island, another mutineer, Edward Young. And so we have ties back to the island and the story of the mutineers. For us, we are both seventh generation descendants of the Bounty mutineers. So that is kind of the context as to how we came here. And essentially these are our roots. Mm-hmm. And so we were in a position to be able to come home, and we did that about 20 years ago, and we've been here ever since.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So Heather, can you tell us a little bit about the day-to-day life here, and what are your challenges? And
Sure. So day-to-day life here is firstly wonderful. So Pitcairn is a very small island, 1 by 2 miles, and it is subtropical. So the climate is generally very nice, although climate changes, it's affecting the whole of the South Pacific, but the climate is very, very pleasant. We live in a very small community, and so that's also very pleasant as well. It has its challenges being part of a small community. But the lifestyle is very nice, and one is able to be productive and still be part of the workforce. All of us have jobs within the workforce. Some of us wear multiple hats in order to do that because we're so few. Our population is, I think around 45 at the moment. It fluctuates depending who's on or off island. So it's quite a labour-intensive environment. People are always very busy. For myself and my partner Kerry, we're early risers, so we're usually kind of up by 5 o'clock, which is great. So we're up with the sunrise, and then we pretty much go all day in such a way that you are working for the betterment of the community and also for your own livelihood and lifestyle. So we really like it. Some of the challenges relate to being able to navigate what it's like to live and be part of a small community, and remembering that many, many of us on the island are all descendants from the Bounty mutineers. So we are like a large family, and all families have their differences as well. So you need to be able to navigate, those things as well. But that's the human nature side of things. So it's good.
Yeah. And can you maybe share with us some of the unique traditions that you have here in the island?
Sure. I think, seeing we're doing this interview and it's December, so we're nearing Christmas. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the tradition of Christmas here on the island. And so this is a custom that is really passed down from the bounty days in the early days. So we have a communal Christmas. So people may do things individually in their own homes, but in terms of the community coming together, we all meet. People go out and they get tree branches and they take them to our public square, and they are installed, the tree branches are, and they're green branches, and these tree branches are all installed in the square. And then each of us go down at any time during the morning, and we take all of our gifts for people, and we hang them on the trees all around. And we also have a Christmas tree there, and so the presents are distributed all around. And generally, how we do Christmas on Pitcairn is, if I was to give you a gift, Natalia, I would just write on my package, "Merry Christmas, Natalia." But I wouldn't say that it was from me, because on Pitcairn, it's about the giving. It's not being acknowledged for the
Beautiful.
giving. And so I think that's these things happen elsewhere in the world, I'm sure, but for us, it's really kind of brings home that the giving of gifts is important, and it doesn't matter what that gift is here, and we're very pragmatic here. So I might give you half a dozen avocado, or it could be something that I have made. It may be something that I have bought, but it's about being able to give the gift and not necessarily to be acknowledged for that. And so all of these parcels get put up, all around on the trees, and everybody goes home, and then they come back for us to get together to have a meal. But before we have the meal, we acknowledge one another, and the people who go to the church will do a blessing for the food and so on before we eat.
So Heather, can you share us a little bit about how do you stay connected to the rest of the world?
Sure, I can. So we are very fortunate now, as of around March this year, 2024, we were able to be engaged with SpaceX and Starlink. So we had some direct connection with them through one of our staff in Auckland had reached out and said, are you interested in Pitcairn Island, getting hooked up with Starlink? And so that journey began. And so we have now been active with Starlink on the island since March. We had internet prior to that, but it was a little bit clunky, and we didn't have the high speed, etc. So when we moved on to Starlink, it's just been fantastic. I think that you can attest to that as being a recent visitor. And then more recently, and I think for you, Natalia, you were the first group of tourists that came on the Silver Supporter, because we now have Starlink on the Silver Supporter as well. And
it was working incredibly well.
Incredibly well, yeah. So Starlink and that kind of level of internet connectivity is really a game changer for Pitcairn. So it impacts our ability to engage and integrate with the rest of the world in real time, which is important. But it also goes towards the kind of health and well-being of the community as well. So many of us have family all around the world, of course, and that sort of connectivity means that we can FaceTime, and pretty much we can operate as anybody else in the world does when they are away from family and those kind of things. So the kind of health and well-being side of it is equally as important. Added to that, that enables us to get our banking done and, all those kind of things. Do it online shopping, which of course is important for everybody these days. So all of those kind of things make a real difference for us, yeah.
And when they do online shopping, like through Amazon or whatever, they basically they order and it goes to a place in New Zealand, and every 3 months, every 3 months, the Silver Supporter, the boat that I came with, brings the supplies here. So actually, we brought a lot of stuff up. The people were just ordering, and actually, this beautiful house, where we've been staying, everything came with that ship. So it's unbelievable to see a house like this one and knowing how, everything was brought to that small ship.
That's right. And that's one of the challenges and kind of the fun bits about deciding to live in an environment like Pitcairn is that you are always planning ahead. They're coming up every 3 months. And in order to do something like build a house or make any kind of renovations or planning for our Pitcairn public service, the kind of groceries and things that we need in the store, everybody is working 3 months in advance to make that happen. And we have an office in Auckland, New Zealand as well. We call it the Pitcairn Island office. And we have a financial controller based there. And we have a logistics operation person based there as well. And they're pivotal to our operations. So we, like everything, nobody can do anything here on their own. And so Pitcairn and how we operate is a classic example of what you need to do, a lot of people coming together to make things happen. And then, of course, in Wellington, New Zealand, we have the Governor's Office as well and the British High Commission in Auckland. So it takes a village, right?
It takes a village.
Even if it's kind of dispersed.
Here you see a very, very clear example of it takes a village. Actually, for example, this house, here it's not, if something breaks, you don't call the plumber. Yeah. Everybody is sort of fixing, their things. Would you say that's one of the challenges?
I think it is too. I think you have to lend your hand to whatever is needed to get things done, and that becomes your way of life. But it's not really that unusual to what people were doing a few generations ago, right?
Yeah.
We still have a level of consumerism. We are part of the world.
Yeah.
But we're more inclined to think, I just need to hold on to that because I know that I can recycle or upcycle and I can use it for something else. And so we're very conscious of being able to do that.
Yeah. And how do you see the future of Pitcairn evolving?
Right. Okay, it's an interesting question because, we are so few, our population being so small, our island being so small, excuse me, the fact that we're the only overseas territory in the South Pacific. But the future for Pitcairn is healthy, in fact. So of more recent times, we established our waters around the Pitcairn Islands as a marine protected area. We are the third largest marine protected area in the world. That came about through some foundational work that was done with the Pew Environment Group and National Geographic and the Pitcairn Island community, really coming together and going, what is going on under our waters, what we need to do to ensure that this is maintained in a pristine way. And so the decision was made with the British government to establish the Marine Reserve. And that was in place for some time. And then last year we opened a marine science base, a research base. And that is to, in order to be able to attract scientists from around the world to come to Pitcairn, to be able to make the most of accessing this pristine, wonderful environment. So that is very much part of our blue-green identity, if you like, is very much part of the future of Pitcairn and what we will look like going forward. And it's incredibly important not only to us as Pitcairn Islanders, as custodians of that, but also it has a far more global reach as to be part of wanting to maintain those seas. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to just stress that point about the pureness of the water, of the skies. I've never seen the stars. I mean, I've seen here. Actually, it's one of the best places to do star watching because there's absolutely no light pollution. The waters are pristine. The way that people take care of nature, it's remarkable. So you have a good feeling for the future for Pitcairn.
Yeah, I think it's positive. We are clearly we're an aging population, and like with many islands across the South Pacific and small communities around the world, is young people grow up, they leave their home environment.
So Heather, can you explain Joyce and her viewers a little bit about your role in the island?
Sure, I can. My role here is, my job title is Travel Coordinator for Pitcairn Islands Tourism. So a little bit of background for that is, Pitcairn is an island in the middle of the South Pacific and has always been part of maritime trade, right back to the early Polynesians, all the way through right up until the Bounty days, and we continue to have a lot of maritime engagement. And there have always been people coming and going from the island, always. So, we have a myth, there's some myths out there about, there's so few people on Pitcairn, and so there must be some kind of inbreeding, and it's just simply not true and has never been true. It's like fake news, right? Because there have always been influxes of people coming and going. So really, about, 15 years ago, we did a restructure of some of our roles and responsibilities here, and a tourism department was kind of developed. And my role in that was to start coordinating that and building relationships internationally and in the South Pacific and so on and so forth. So this has been going on for some time. Today, tourism is pivotal to our local economy. So we generate through our cruise ship industry and visitors to the island, through to our silver supporter visitors that come, like yourself, Natalia, and your mum that have come to stay. That generates about 63 to 64% of our local economy. So it's very important, for Pitcairn and for Pitcairners. It's also very important for building our identity and our reputation in the South Pacific. And we're quite unique in that we're the only British overseas territory in the South Pacific. And so that has a different vibe. We have two languages, which is Pitcairnese, our Pitcairn language, which is a hybrid kind of Creole language, and then everybody else speaks English as well. So we are in the South Pacific. We are very much part with our sister islands, and particularly in French Polynesia, but we are unique in terms of being the only overseas territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what would you say to people that want to come here? And I'm sure that's something I'm going to share a lot
Sure.
as well, because I just lived through that experience.
Yeah.
But what is, if you would like to tell people interested in coming here?
Yeah. I guess the first thing that I will say to that is, I'm going to ask you a question and say, So how was it for you? Was it, given we are very remote, we're so far away, it's a little bit convoluted. How was the experience for you to get here?
It was incredible. I totally recommend it. Of course, it is. I think the most challenging is just the distance, but I think going through that distance and it's what makes it special too. So traveling first all the way to Polynesia, to Papeete, then to Gambier, and then taking this 2-day boat trip, the supplier boat. Of course, the sea was rough and it takes a little time. It's not like a cruise line where you have all those commodities but I think we had an incredible experience. And then at the moment we arrived to the island, people were so loving and so caring, and we felt really like arriving to our new family here. And so I completely recommend, and I'll be more than happy to share more stories and to tell them how to go about, because sometimes people don't know how easy it is.
And it is really easy. And thank you for sharing that as well, because my role and what we want you to do is to say to people like yourself is that, yes, come to Pitcairn and you can do it. It is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world. And we're open for business. We're, open for exploration. And, our role is to make that easy and accessible for you to do that. So it kind of fits with Joyce's theme, right? It's about accessibility. So we want to be able to share that. And so we can make this happen quite simply. I'm actually your first point of contact for anybody that's looking to travel. It's very simple for people just to, who are pondering, and just to Google Visit Pitcairn, and you will come up to our website, and that provides you with a whole lot of information. And then the direct point of contact is me.
Yeah.
So
that's where it's great that I'm actually doing the interview with her, because she's your point of contact. And I have to go. It went so smoothly for me the moment I had always sort of dreamt of that little rock in the middle of the Pacific, and I had looked at it in Google Maps, and but when I Googled it and I sort of find out how to get here, the process was very smooth, very professional. So
very straightforward.
totally recommend.
Yeah.